We're going to get started here. I'm going to do a demo on electronic scoring. In this example, we'll be doing a night of practice. And what I will be creating is something called a practice session, which really is just a cut down tournament to just the basic features of bringing a bunch of people in, shooting, getting a practice score, and very one line, none of the other stuff that goes along with the tournament. So in the background, it still has all the features with just a lot of it disabled. You can still do, well, you'll see, still do scoring and all that. But the first thing to do is to actually set up. You see there's tournaments and then there's practice session on the home screen separately. Don't pay attention to the URLs. Of course, this is my test system. The kids are real. They just had their last names changed randomly. It's just a little something I run in the background. But if it was in live, it would be tan in the background. But anyway, so if you go to select, you can actually add a new practice session. And I created two to start out. One is a practice round, and there's another one practice round for 1/2, which I believe is what we'll probably be using most times. So if we do that, we just got to do a few basic things. Electronic scoring practice, I think this is 4. I did 3 other ones earlier just to try. So if it's a Crowfoot, they would have 20 lanes and AB. And so you add the practice, and then it brings you to this, and it's very similar to the tournament dashboard. But you can go and select your participants. I think I had something in there earlier, and I cleared the filter, just whatever is in there, and I'm going to select 6 randomly. Doesn't really matter for this demo what they're shooting, etc. And I will register them. Notice you don't have to do time preferences, any of that. If you do go to just see who's registered, you'd be able to take them in, add new people, bring in from other clubs, whatever you wanted to do. But let's go back. Now that you've selected your participants in the practice, of course, you go left to right, and then we'll do targets and scoring assignments. So let's just go lane 1A. We'll just go A. I mean, of course, you can do B. It really doesn't care if you're doing A or B. It just does check it, but I messed up. Let's just do that. And update lanes. And then what you'll get is you have electronic scoring over here. So what you've got to do from this screen is create scoring category or scoring groups. I'm going to do 3 and 3, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit on. I have a tablet sitting here on the desk. It works the same on a tablet as if you would do it from like a phone or any browser really. So what I'll do is show a little bit with the camera on the tablet, and then probably just create a smaller one to go through all the details. But in any case, let's create 2 different. Let's say we're going to score this with 2 different tablets, and we're going to take these 3, 1A, 2A, 3A, and put them. You can move them up and down, change the orders. If you're adding them like this, there's really no need to. But this is your current session, and what we're going to do is we're going to select. I have a couple of devices that I've been using, Crowfoot, tablet, whatever. These can be set up in advance, and once they're set up once, I think I only need logged in like once a year. Otherwise, as long as you keep the thing alive and you reboot it, whatever, it'll come back to its previous name. Okay, so there's other options for scoring if you wanted to email, but in this case, since we're working on tablets, then we don't need to do any of this. With getting people, if they were using their phone or something, you can certainly use this. Let's go back to the practice dashboard, back to targets. Probably should make a shortcut there. And we'll create another scoring session with 4, 5, 6. And then for this one, we'll take tablet 3, and then we have scoring groups. Another thing I should mention when you're in here is the ability to lock the tournament. And I think I'm going to turn this red when it's locked. but what that does is it prevents anybody, if you're setting up or you don't want anybody to score ahead or hit a button by accident, it just locks the tournament from scoring. So let's go back to the practice dashboard for just a minute before we get into this. And you could do score sheets if you wanted to, and you can update the scores when it's unlocked, the way you would for a tournament as well. Now, I should mention what happens if you overlay the half scores on the score sheets coming from the tablet with a manual entry. It will just change the end half score. And of course, you could do tournament scoring just like you were at a regular tournament, but it's just for a practice session. And then these ones down here, we'll get to the finalized scores, would actually be what you hit to move the scores to the practice score list. All right, so with that, I'm going to show a little bit of the tablet. And what I'll do is when I go to the tablet, I'll come here and hit the unlock tournament scoring. Okay, and here's the tablet. You see I'm just holding the camera here next to the screen. And what you do is on the admin who's ever setting it up would go in, unlock the tournament scoring, and then if you hit the refresh page on the tablet, you logged in, and then you'll get here, and you have the ability to go in. Even though there's going to be 3 ends, you can change the size, and I'll make it so that it saves the size. But you can change it to your liking. And I leave a little bit of room because you'll see it'll get 3 ends displayed, and you can change the number of ends, so forth, that go on. So let's stop there, and I will show you how to proceed with scoring. What I've done here is I've put the admin screen that you would have at the check-in desk on the left, and on the right I put a screen that would look just like the tablet would, exactly the same. Instead of tapping on the screen, just be hitting it with the cursor. But everything works exactly the same as it would there, but it's a little easier to show it here rather than me shaking with the camera or trying to mount it some way that can be showing you the tablet and doing all this. But basically, once you unlock the scoring and that tablet logs in, hits that refresh, you've come to end number 1. And those scoring groups that you set up here, and in this case, this is 1, 2, and 3, are active and ready to go. So you're literally just putting in the 3 scores, and it's going to go right in order. So I'm just going to go and just start clicking, and I'll probably take a break here. Once I get to a certain point, you have to watch me enter so many ones. And there are different things like cancel and clear, and you can go back and edit the scores up here. It's pretty self-explanatory. I won't show you each one of them. You can move, of course, here and there and everywhere. But I'm going to show you at least through N3, and then you can see how it's going to go into the number of ends that are displayed. And I think right now on this, I have it set at 4. And right now it's not enforcing highest to lowest, but it could very easily, or just take it and reorder it. I'm open for suggestions. Again, this is just testing. I'm sure it's going to need some tweaks here and there, but I've had it working now for a few years, and I just haven't got it thoroughly tested. But in any case, you see what's going on here. It's just showing you 4 ends. The one at the top starts disappearing. You could go back to it, but I'll show you some other tricks. And what you're going to get is the admin who's sitting at the desk. Let's say they want to take a look at this, and they want to look at the scorecard. And here you go. And you'll see the ones here. Let's say there was a bad arrow score that they contested or later or whatever. And this could happen later before you, but once you finalize the scores, finalizing the scores moves it to history, and then it becomes a little bit of a different, not, it can be done, but it just becomes a different kind of problem. So if you hit save here, and let me see if that was Anika. So let me score, you'll see that 1097 come up right there. So yeah, the admin has the ability to do that. It did pop it up in a new window, so where you were here, is there. So at this point, you should be done creating the groups. It is possible to change things around, but you could understand how that would become very confusing. So if we go back to the practice dashboard and look at this, you can see the half scores uh, getting here, and there's some problem. Anika went. Oh, that's the tiebreakers. Um, no problem. So you'll see if you update it here, it's not going to update the end scores. It'll just overlay. There's the end scores are accumulating in a database, but what really counts at the end is just the half scores, tens and nines. So if you update it here, it would create a problem where the arrow scores don't add up to the number. I did that intentionally, but again, open for suggestions on how to handle that. Maybe it should wipe it out, but then you lose all that work. But you can edit it here, just like this is the same screen. If you were in a tournament, you can see reusing the same panels. Let's go back to the panel dashboard over here, and we'll go back into target and scoring. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to score the rest of these ends, and I'll come back in, rate it the last end. Okay, so here we are at the very last end, the very last uh, shooter 3A. So you'll notice it says save and next will end scoring. So when you enter this last end, you hit save and next. It'll say scoring complete, and then it'll go back to scoring pause as you finish that. So at this point, that tablet is no longer active. You would actually have to go back in and create this session to put it back active again. I should also say there was an option for ending the session in that info if you were like wanting to quit or wasn't working out or for whatever reason you wanted to quit it and just go to paper. You can certainly do that. Connectivity problems, whatever. Okay, so at this point, I've scored 1, 2, 3. If I go back to the practice dashboard, just kind of set in. And also, the scorecard is available here. It's the same exact thing as we're looking at over here. You got 1/2 for 227, and also on the practice dashboard, if you wanted to show what you're familiar with here, you can see there's a link here to the scorecard. We actually did have need to discuss, merit jumps. Of course, merit jumps have to be approved. So even if when you hit finalized scores, it would go through the approval process. I know Anne was familiar with that and need to get a refresher on that. But if we go back to the practice session, the play tournament scoring, uh, when you hit the finalized scores, those scores are going to go in as practice scores, and we can certainly try that. I think that was all I really wanted to show as far as when I hit finalized scores. It gives you like you were in a tournament, that last little report if you wanted to print it. If not, just close it out. And if we go back to the club dashboard and view the scores, and just go here, past day, I think will get us there, and filter. And then you will see, I think I have some other stuff going on here. Clear, date, sort. So a little slow. Here you go. So you see the practice scores come up, and I think that the reason uh, that only one of them comes up is because of some other filters I got going on. But you would expect to see the other ones appear here. And if I clear this and then date, sort, and whatever way you want to look at it. But the scores are saved in there and ready to go. Okay, so that's practice scoring, and a tournament work most the same way, except that you'd have all that other stuff to do with setting bails and checking in and all that fun. So let me know what you think, and we'll proceed from here. Thanks.